Um, as Hillary said, my name is Mel Quancy and I own Intuit Digital. We're a boutique marketing firm here in Des Moines. We do have clients across the country, but most of our clients are right here in our hometown. I started Intuit Digital in April of 2018. So I'm just really excited to be here and to sort of present some social media basics, especially as a producer and just in general running businesses and farms. It's just everyone is so busy that sometimes we can just sort of simplify the process and give you some tips and tricks. And, this will just be hopefully really helpful for everyone. So like Hillary said, just drop your questions in the chat and then we can go over them at the end. So without further ado, I give you social media basics, everything you need to know about creating an effective social media content for your brand. Okay. So social media is really about storytelling, strategy, and community. So it encompasses all the ways that you share, interact, and exchange information with your community digitally. The really popular media platforms right now are YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Pinterest, and Google. And what we really want to focus on today is Instagram and Facebook. But before I dive into those two platforms, TikTok is starting to see some value in converting sales or bringing awareness to what you do to gain more interest for growing either your audience or also just making your products available to your ideal client. The other place that we're seeing some great growth is you can actually post on Google now. And so Google, I think, is trying to get a little bit into the social media space. And it's not just Google Ads, it's actually just, they position it as more of a blog, but you can post every day if you wanted to, or multiple times a day, to share information with people that might visit your Google profile. So that's sort of up and coming. It's fairly new, but we're seeing a lot of great success with it. So definitely wanted to share that with you guys today. So like I said, we're going to talk about Instagram and Facebook. Facebook is great for static posts, stories, videos, lives, groups, and events. You can also set up a shop and sell your products through the commerce capabilities that it has. The majority of the audience comprises of millennials, Gen Xers, and boomers. And then on Instagram, which is a little bit different, you can do static posts, stories, reels, guides, and lives. And it does also have shop and commerce capabilities. So you usually integrate that with your website so that you can have your products, if you guys have scrolled, Facebook or Instagram on your own in your personal time and have seen ads where it's like, click to view products, that those products are actually loaded in the platform, Instagram or Facebook, and it's just connected to that company's website. And the audience for Instagram is majority Gen Z and millennial consumers. So just a little bit about generationally where we're at with each platform. So there's really three main types of posts that we focus on. One is static posts. That's an image or collection of images. So what social media platforms really thrive in helping with your algorithm is when you post a diverse set of content. So one day you might post a single post that is a picture. Another day you might post a series of pictures that you can scroll or swipe left to view. Another day you might post a video. And then on Facebook, you could just post a link to an article or just have plain text, no photo or video. And really, the platforms love that sort of diversity. Now, obviously on Instagram, you may or may not know this, but it's required to have a picture. But on Facebook, you can always just pop in and post text like you would, say, on Twitter, if you're familiar with that platform. So don't be afraid to do more than one photo sometimes, a single photo other times, a video, or no photo at all on Facebook, and, just have a statement or a piece of education or, something that you want to share with your audience. The other great thing that you can do on Facebook is you can make your event, and you can also post about your event on your main feed as well. So when we go to, so static, that's a little bit about static posts and post diversity. So when we're focusing on videos, it's really great to share 60 seconds or less, whether you're doing a reel or on Facebook, more of a long form video. There's also some great, for those of you that know a little bit about social media, just honorable mention, YouTube has rolled out YouTube Shorts to compete with Reels and for Instagram and TikTok, and that's gaining some popularity as well. So sometimes the shorter the better. So if you want to share information that's 1 to 2 minutes long, it might be better to break it up into 4 to 6 short videos instead of doing one long video. That's just a trend that we're sort of seeing right now, is the way that people are consuming content, and they consume it very quickly. So with stories, stories are really, really important. And when you look at Instagram and Facebook and the feeds, there are a good majority of your audience only does the feed and never looks at stories. Then there's another portion of your audience that is only going to look at stories and never looks at your feed. And then there's other people who like to consume the content in both places, both in stories and on your feed. And so it's really, really important to do both. What we like to say is, do the more polished, informational, branded storytelling posts on the grid, and then share them to your story. And then the more candid day-to-day, like, if it was birthing season, like showing the baby cows, that would be a great post in stories. I don't know, planting garlic and just showing the little garlic bits in the soil would be a great story. I mean, you can make those into posts too. It's just kind of your day-to-day, been a busy day, got muddy boots is a cute story. Like just some ideas of like sort of more candid. So that's a little bit about all of the different post types. So let's dive into Facebook just a little bit. Let me see if I can move this. Can you guys see the Zoom bar on the screen? No, you're good. Okay, perfect. It was just covering up my screen. Okay, so with your Facebook page, you always want to have your logo or your face as your profile picture, and you always want to make sure that it's within the circle. So I know that we have that it's a little bit small, but hopefully you can see. And then you want your caption, your hashtags, image, and then you can always click down here to see your analytics if you have a business page. And then this is obviously where the comments are. So one of the questions we get asked the most is, what are hashtags? What are their purpose? How many do I need to have? And really it changes quite frequently because it's part of how algorithms work and the way that hashtags engage with audiences. But essentially what a hashtag is it's a keyword. It can not only help you be found when people search on Google, but hashtags also become a sense of community on their own, so that when you go and search a hashtag, you get posts, a long stream of posts that have everything to do with that particular hashtag. So it's just another search function, essentially. The ideal number of hashtags right now, and you can always Google, how many hashtags should I include in my post, and you'll always get an updated number because it changes frequently. But right now it's 11 to 15 hashtags. So hashtags help you be found. They help you create community about different topics within your business with other people and accounts that do the same thing that you do. So that community piece. And then when the consumer wants to find you, they can find you via the hashtag. So it's just another search function. Other options to include in your post would be a link to a URL, like your website. You can tag other people on Facebook. And then you can also do a location tag, like Winterset or Des Moines. And that also helps just sort of with that search function of you being found within those areas. On Instagram, you have the same profile picture and the name of your business, caption, hashtags, comments, and your image. The other really cool thing is that if you need to give someone credit, you can tag them. And tagging on Instagram is very similar to Facebook. It's just, again, linking to other businesses and creating a sense of community. Same thing with hashtags 11 to 15 on Instagram. So a lot of similarities there. One thing I do want to mention is the little flag right here. When people click this, some of you may know this, but it saves it to your saved posts in your personal Instagram profile. So for example, if you come across a recipe or a workout routine, or, if as a keeper of bees, you see another beekeeper that posts something that's of interest to you, and you click that little flag, and it will save it forever in your saved post area, which can be found in the menu of your profile on your phone or desktop. So that's just a really great feature. Also, if people in your community, your followers, click the flag, it actually increases your scoring in the logarithm, where Instagram will go, oh, people are liking this because they're flagging it. So it'll push your content out even more, which is always wonderful. We love to reach more people. So that's the anatomy of Instagram. So when we're writing captions, we hear a lot of, okay, I've got this great picture, and then I sit in my truck, or I'm out in the barn, or wherever I am, and it's taking me like 20 minutes to write these 2 little paragraphs because I'm getting in my head and getting in my own way of what to say. So writing captions is definitely one of the biggest barriers that DIY content creators face. And so what we try to do is just break it down so it's really easy for you. And one is to create an engaging hook. So what are you doing today? What's exciting about what I'm seeing in the photo? I know I saw a beekeeper post once where they opened the top of one of the boxes. I may not know all the right terms. And it was just they were so sweet about it. They were like, oh, just checking on the bees today. And it was just a happy little post. So the hook can almost be also storytelling. It doesn't always have to have something to do with selling a product or service. It's just what's happening in the photo and grabbing the audience's attention. The second thing would be just the body of the caption. What adds value, what entertains, and what informs? So it's what story are you trying to tell? Then if the post does have a call to action, you would want to include that next. Whether you're selling a product or, have some other call to action like registration to an event, anything that has a convert to it that you're trying to convert. Then the last thing you want to add is URLs, which are links, tags, or hashtags. So that is the structure for writing your captions. So on the hook, you can either get to the offer, target a specific audience, ask a question, or make a statement. So those are really the 4 main hooks that you can offer in your posts. So baby doll dress lovers, this one's for you. So if that grabs your attention, you're like, ooh, I love dresses. Down here we have target a specific audience. Good morning, writers. It's Writing Prompt Monday. So we're talking to writers. So writers are going to be very curious about what's happening. In other instances, you could ask a question. People ask us all the time, what's the magic behind a successful business? How do I make my business successful? Why is it so hard? Well, I want to know the answer to that question. What business owner does it? So that's a great opening. And then the last one down here on the right, make a statement. Agility and innovation are key during an ever-changing work climate. I mean, that's a great hook and really makes a statement that's super relevant to the season we're in right now. So the story, we have 3 main stories. There's origination stories, the day in the life type of stories, client experiences. You could also, in the producer space, also do features like what are we doing today on the farm or with the animals or, as a grower. That sort of day in the life is really solid gold when it comes to featuring your content and what you're doing, because there's nothing more, especially as a consumer that loves getting locally grown food. I love to hear the stories of like, where did the garlic come from, and meeting the people that planted it, and like amazing recipes that they've come up with as a grower. Or, Hillary and I were joking about like what to do with some of the vegetables that aren't as common, like kohlrabi. And so it's just fun to hear little tips and tricks, and don't take for granted like your day-to-day life may seem okay. Well, I'm getting a truck and I'm feeding the cows, or I'm trimming garlic beards. I keep using garlic as an example, but don't take for granted that like for someone like me that lives in the city, and as well as a ton of other people, I would love to see that in a story. Like, what are you doing out on the farm today? So your content can be actually really, really easy, because people are curious creatures and they just want to see what's happening on the day-to-day. So a little bit about call to action ideas. How can we help you today? Ask a question and then invite people to private message you. We call that direct message. Click the link in our bio for more information. Double tap, which is to get people to heart. Tell me, should I or should I not? This or that. Drop an emoji below if you're XYZ. So Zenith Design Build had an event, and we asked, who will we see this weekend? Another example would be, whatever you need to add extra spring to your step, pencil in time on this calendar to make it a priority. So it's a call to action to go to the calendar. Set up an intro meeting with our team, and there's a phone number. Check out our post for more opportunities you can tap into for professional coaching. So these are just some examples of, how you might put the call to action at the end. And I'll leave this up for just a second. If anyone's making notes, they're listed on the right-hand side here. So we touched on hashtags a little bit. The easiest way to manage hashtags, and this is a great picture here of how we create hashtag banks, is to use a Google Sheet and collect hashtags over time. You can go to besthashtag.com, and I can put that in the chat at the end. And you can put in beekeeping or dairy or dairy farmer, like whatever it is that you do, and it'll produce hashtags for you. And then you can just copy and paste those into your post. And that's besthashtag.com. So there are really three main hashtag things that I want to talk about. One is place-based. So you want to focus on your geographical location. So a lot of clients that we help, we make sure we use the hashtags for cities and towns, and even the state that they're in. Because what that does is people that follow those areas will see the posts, and that's a local audience that drives traffic to brick and mortar. So like for the food co-op, we would definitely want to do area hashtags, because people following those hashtags will see the food co-op pop up and maybe wouldn't otherwise know about it, which is very cool. It's a great way to get exposure to new audiences. The second is industry-based. So online boutique, destination photographer, custom cakes, beekeeper, grower, beef, like whatever your industry is, you would want to include some of those hashtags, because people that follow those will be really interested. So if you combine your area plus what you do, people following both of those in your area will find you. This third one is content specific. So you want to focus on content specifically shown in the image or caption. So if you have a picture of, tractor, You could just hashtag tractor, love my tractor, John Deere, like whatever brand your tractor is. And so that sort of just ties it in to that content specific of what's shown, where the tractor might be working in the picture, tilling the earth. Or you guys might be laughing at me because my producer lingo is not as probably what you're used to. So where do you put the hashtags? So the hashtags are inside the post, or you can put them in the first comment on Instagram. You can just paste them in. So you post your post and then you go to the comment and you actually personally make the first comment and it's just hashtags. Or you can reply back. So if someone comments, then you can hit reply and put the hashtags in the reply. These are just algorithm tricks and trends to try and get your post pushed out to audiences that haven't possibly seen you yet. So just to recap, inside the post, first comment, or when you're replying to a comment. So tagging and sharing. Tagging can be a bit tricky. So on stories, when you tag, you can use on Instagram the tag sticker, which will actually notify the person that you're tagging. When you tag people in text, it doesn't always notify them. So not a lot of people know that. On a static post versus a story, you actually want to tag the photo. You can see this right here. You want to tag the photo and tag in the post right here. Because what happens is when you tag the post content, it doesn't notify the person that you're tagging. It only notifies the person that you're tagging if you tag the photo. And you do that when you're doing the post. You can actually just click the photo and the tag option will come up. And then, of course, you can always do your location tag, which we always recommend. And there is a strategy sometimes, like if you're in Winterset, you could tag Des Moines if you're trying to reach people in Des Moines. So you can tag areas outside of your area to try and reach new audiences. Content buckets. So one of the best ways to develop content buckets is to either use a piece of paper and just make some different lists of all the different content that you could create topics out of. So if I own a restaurant, it could be topics around menus, topics around recipes, topics about specials, drinks, entrees, desserts, anything that you can highlight. And then you can organize that. And then when you build out your content, you'll have the different topics that you can post. So someone mentioned that they were helping to implement and facilitate social media for a farm in Winterset. Was that you, Stephanie? And so what you could do is you could plot out, okay, on Tuesday, I'm going to post this topic. Thursday, I'm going to post on this topic. And then Saturday, I'm going to post on this topic. And then each week what you're going to post about. Some of the common content bucket types are like educating your audience, user-generated content. So if you're out on the farm with the cattle, you could take a selfie with them in the background. Promotional, like what are you promoting right now? Like we'll be at the farm stands selling, fresh, eggs. So that's just an example. Testimonials, things personal, like if you're just started following, I am so-and-so and I am the owner of this, and just telling a little bit about yourself, or maybe the kids are involved and you're willing to show your pets and kids on your social media. People love to see the family. So personal is great. Conversational or question, like, what would you like for us to grow this year? Would you want more kale, or would you want more lettuce? So it's just a matter of like, you can create a conversation. Entertainment, of course, there can be a lot of funny things that happen, on the farm, and You could post those as bloopers or just things that people might have a great interest in. And then you can also just do like lists and graphics. And I don't know, there's one grower that I just love. She's located, I used to live in the Pacific Northwest, and she's located in Oregon. And she has a cookbook, and she grows all kinds of beautiful vegetables. And she did a cookbook based on the season, only using locally grown foods for each season. And it was very enjoyable to read her cookbook. But she had, obviously a list of things that you could get to fill your pantry in order to cook everything that you've purchased from locally grown producers. So that's just another area or topic. So these are some different examples of content maps. So you can use a Google Sheet, you could use a piece of paper and just draw some squares. You could get a little calendar at an office store and just put your topics in each square of what you want to post about. And it can definitely be more ad hoc than this, but if you wanted to plan, then you certainly could use one of these formats to plan your content. And this is what we use. We make the graphic and then put it in here and then write the caption, and then our team schedules it. So it just depends on how many team members are involved. So how often should you post is a huge question we get often. And right now, post-COVID, with all of the digital content consumption fatigue, really, if you have a compelling story, you can post at any time on any day. And your followers are so loyal. They love your content. They're obsessed. They're going to engage with it. I would say 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. is your safe space to post. Now, there is some logic. If I post at 7, chances are people are going to see it before they go to work, or 6. If I post before 11 or before noon, like around 11, people are going to see it on their lunch break. And then usually folks are busy from 4 to 7, making dinner, getting home from work, wrapping up at the farm, and aren't back on their phone scrolling until about 7, 8 o'clock, sometimes 9 o'clock. So there is some logic to just when are people digitally scrolling their phone, besides all the time, which of course sometimes feels like that's all we're doing. But that's just some good logic of when to post, and how often can be up to you. I wouldn't post more than once a day, and 2 to 3 times a week is sufficient. But when you're posting in stories, the best philosophy with stories is if you can post as many stories as you possibly can daily. Stories really drive that candid content that people just get really obsessed with. And then on the feed, you're posting 2 to 3 times a week, maybe up to 4 to 5 times a week, just depending on the season and how busy you are. That works great. If you're doing a lot of stories, 1 to 2 posts a week can work as well. So how personal should I get with my posts? That's entirely up to you. I will tell you, though, that humans love to engage with other humans. And so the more you post personal that you're willing to post, the better, because that's really the solid gold content that really resonates, because it's authentic and it's genuine, and we just really want to get to know you. So we just talked about when the best time is to post. So you have all your accounts set up, where to start. Honestly, it's just starting, just start posting. And like I said, on Facebook, do a post without a video or a picture. Then do a picture by itself with no text. And then do a text with a picture, and do a text with a video. Like, make the content diverse. And that's a huge win on Facebook. On Instagram, again, it's the same thing, like a static post, a carousel post, a reel. So once your accounts are set up, which most of you have all of your accounts set up, but maybe you want to add Instagram and you're only doing Facebook, you just start posting. Don't, get in your own way and think overcomplicate it, because people genuinely just want to learn more about you. And that's all you have to do, is tell your story, who you are, what you do, and why you do it. those are great. That's a